All right, last question. You had a lot of information here, okay? The important information was that you have triangle DEF, which is this big one over here, and it's saying that it's been dilated from center O, which is over here, by a scale factor of 1/2, okay? And that's why it went from big to smaller. And then we have this triangle D prime, E prime, F prime. And it says we also have triangle D double prime, E prime, F prime. Notice how it's connected to the original. And these two are congruent to each other. Here it says to describe the sequence of a dilation followed by a congruence, which is just a sequence of basic rigid motions, that would map this triangle back onto the original. So we have to do a dilation first and then this congruence sequence second. So the first thing we need to identify is what scale factor is going to map this. What's going to get it to be the same size? Well, it was originally dilated by a scale factor of 1/2. So we're going to want to work backwards and we're going to have a dilation. From center O, you always have to include the center, by a scale factor of 2 because it's the reciprocal of 1/2. Now, let's just take a look. Let's check the points because we don't want too many parts of our sequence. So let's take a look. E is at 7, -1. F is at 6, -5. Oops, that should be a positive 6. And D is at, I don't know, like 7.5, -4. And since we are dilating by a scale factor of 2, we want to double these. So let's just start with E. E would need to be at 7 times 2 is 14, and -1 times 2 is 2. So E prime would have to be, or E would have to be at 14, -2, which if you take a look happens to be right there. So this act of dilation gets it right back onto the original. 7.5 times 2 is 15, and -4 times 2 is 8. And if you look here, D is at 15, 8. So it maps it there. And then 6 times 2 is 12, and -5 times 2 is 10. And that gets us, or -10. So 12, -10 is right here. So that act of dilation maps this and enlarges it to get back onto the original. There's no need for a translation here. We haven't had to slide anything. That dilation did that for us. That's why it's important to check with the coordinates. So many of you included a translation and probably didn't need it. The idea is to map on to D double prime EF. So from here, we would just reflect over this line. So a reflection over line EF.